Hello YouTube, welcome to Rob's Arcade. I'm your host Rob, and I've got an awesome episode in store for all of my Player 2s. On this episode, we're going to be drawing the Animaniacs. Oh yeah, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. But before we get to that, I gotta tell you, I had the craziest dream last night.
I dreamt I was a character in an Animaniacs cartoon. Pinky and the Brain were plotting to take over the world, as usual, but for some odd reason, part of their plan involved taking over the arcade. I received a map leading me to a super secret arcade location that had classic games I've never played before, which, unbeknownst to me, was sent by Pinky and the Brain. So when I followed the map, this happened.
Yeah, that was a pretty weird dream, huh? Now I figure that's either my subconscious telling me that I'm super excited about this episode, or I really need to stop eating pizza late at night and falling asleep watching cartoons. Either way, we are going to have a ton of fun this episode. We're going to draw the Animaniacs shortly, but first, let's make sure everybody has their supplies. Okay, Player 2s, let's start drawing the Animaniacs. I'm going to show you all how just a few simple changes will actually change a character entirely. First, we're going to start drawing Yakko. I'm going to be drawing in red on this white dry erase board. As usual, when I draw in red, I want you to press very lightly with your pencils. Again, this is the guideline stage. First thing we're going to do, we're going to draw an egg shape. Now, some of you might find it easier to just draw the egg shape itself, or it might be easier to do a circle and then draw a little cone on top of it like that. Okay, again, an egg shape. So we'll just go around here. Again, don't forget to be pressing very lightly with your pencils. Now in our drawing, this is going to be a 3/4 view, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a guideline right down the middle here, just to help separate the sides. Okay, so we should have our egg with our little guideline right here. We're going to draw another guideline right here to separate everything into a top half and a bottom half. The bottom half, we'll start right here with the nose momentarily, go down to the jaw, draw the mouth. On the upper half, eyes, hair, and ears. So the next step, we're going to draw an oval. That would be for his nose. The oval should be placed right about here, leaving a thin area here and a thicker area there. So when we go to the next step, which I'm going to do right now, is we're going to draw a curve, and the curve is going to go right down, not on the guideline that we did, but very close to it, up and around. So it'll just be like a letter U. Again, we'll have a little bit of space between here and here. When we're finished with that letter U, we're going to draw downward letter C's. Downward frontward, downward backwards. Head shape, nose, smile. We're going to draw, it's like a letter V, but not a sharp bottom, down to about there. So we have smile, nose. Inside here, we're going to draw a little letter M for his tongue. And we have a guideline right here that we're going to go into more detail lately, but we can use this for his teeth. Now you see the image is already starting to take shape. If your image doesn't look exactly like this, again, as I always say, it's okay. The great thing about this being on YouTube is that you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can find where you made mistakes. Just try to keep up. I know I move kind of fast, but you can pause it. So we have nose, mouth. We're going to draw a little curve down on the bottom of the mouth, and then we're going to draw a little curve, just a tiny one, right about here. We're going to fill this out a little bit more when we go to the detail step. The next step we're going to do is we're going to do the eyes. Starting right about here where this line and the part of the nose meet, we're going to draw an oval, but the oval is going to be a little bit crooked. So it should be something like this. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Another oval, just a little bit crooked right here. So again, eyes, nose, mouth. Do a little curve here. Starting right about here, we're going to do a letter M. So we'll start in the middle of the M, and then we're going to bring the M down around to here, stopping right about there, and then stopping right about here. At the bottom of the M, we're going to curve it in just a little bit there, going in that direction, and then we're going to go around from here. This will show up a little bit more in the next step. I understand that there's a lot of stuff going on here, but once we start actually filling in the details, this will start taking shape a little bit more. But as you can see, eyes, nose, mouth, jaw, head. We're going to draw two triangles right up here for his hair, and then we're going to draw two curved triangles right here and right here. Okay, we're going to draw just a little line right down there for his neck. And then we're going to draw the ears, starting right about here, up and around. So it's an oval and a rectangle. We're going to draw right through, oval and a rectangle. All right, again, when we clean this up a little bit, all this stuff right here is going to be black. So it's all going to blend in together. It's going to just form one shape. So now we're done with step one. Guideline is all set. Your image should look something similar to this. If it doesn't, that's okay. We're learning here. It's not going to look perfect the first time, but the more you practice, the more that you'll get it. So we're going to start adding our details. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw an oval inside of his nose. If we decide to color this oval will be a highlight. So the nose will be red while that will be white. I'm going to go over the nose right here, going over the guidelines that we did right here for the mouth, and the inside of the mouth, the tongue. We'll go over here for the teeth, and then inside, I'm just going to draw a little curve right here because we're going to fill this in with black, just to add a little bit of depth to his mouth. Not the whole mouth, but just right there. So this other part would be a lighter red, this would be a darker red. Over the jaw, the neck, we have our little curve that we did right here, plus our little curve that we did right here. Over the eyes, again, inside the eyes, we're going to do a little circle right there for another highlight. Inside the eyes here, another circle for another highlight. I'm going to go over our M shape, starting here, down and around, down to here. I'm going to bring it here, connecting to that. Other side of the M, same thing, down around, down to here. We're going to draw a curve, and then we're going to follow the curve down to there. Then this little M shape that we did for the side of his head, we're going to go around. Now, since these guidelines all blend together, all I'm going to do is actually just trace the outline. So, hair sticks out there. There's the ears. There's the hair. I'm going to skip that guideline. go around here. All we're doing right now is just tracing over our guidelines. We're kind of cleaning it up a little bit. Press a little bit harder with your pencils, but not too hard, because again, eventually we're going to have to erase all this stuff too. So right now you should have an image that looks like this. Take a look at it, give it a once over, make sure you didn't miss anything. If you missed a step, again, rewind it, go back, find where the mistakes were. Now the final step, we're going to take our black pen or felt tip marker, and we're going to start tracing over the details. Like, this is the final step. This is where, once we ink this over, we can't erase it, so we have to be very, very careful. We're going to go over the nose and the highlight, going over the mouth, and a little circle there, going over the rest of the mouth. I'm just going to shade this in really quick. Again, I'm going very fast just to try to get you all through this so we can go through the next step. Because all we're doing is, we've pretty much drawn the image already. All we're doing is just cleaning it up and just adding the finishing touches to it. So I'm going over his little face thing. Right here, there's our M shape. We bring the mouth down and around. A little part of the nose, a little detail line that we did here. Eyes. I'm going to fill that in just a little bit, just to make it stand out a little bit. So all my player 2s have an idea of what the finished picture should look like. And then I'm going to go over our ears. Again, just the lines that we need, just the second step. We're not inking over any of the guideline stuff. So just pretty much everything that I've drawn in blue. Go over the rest of the mouth here. And then the neck. His neck is very skinny. And I'm just going to quickly just shade this in just to kind of give you an indication of what it would look like when it's shaded. Be very careful. A lot of people have the tendency to place their hand on the paper when they draw. When you place your hand on the paper, and if you're going like this from left to right, you may smear it. So just be very careful. Hopefully we all have supplies that the ink dries very, very fast, so we can just go from there. There's the rest of the black spaces. And right here. And voila! We have Yakko. Again, I can't stress this enough. Take a look at your image. Make sure that you didn't miss any steps. If something doesn't look right, compare your drawing to this drawing and figure out where you made your mistake. Rewind the video, go back, catch up. Now we're going to give this ink a minute or two to dry, and when it's done, we're going to erase all of the pencil lines. Okay, so all these lines here, all these guidelines will disappear. So we'll have something similar to this, a nice, cleaner image. Again, and make sure that you didn't miss any steps, because if you do go through and erase everything and you missed a step, it's going to look strange. You're not going to have a completed drawing. So we just drew Yakko. Now I'm going to show all of my player 2s how just a few simple changes to Yakko's face will allow you to draw Wacko and the Warner sister Dot. Stay tuned. Okay, player 2s. Now we're going to draw Dot from Animaniacs. Image is already started. We've done the same thing that we've drawn with Wacko. Drew him the same exact way. We started off with a circle instead of an oval. That's a small difference, because Yakko's had his pointer while Dot's is more rounded. So we have the nose, we have the mouth, we have the eyes. With Dot, when we did Yakko, when we did this M shape, it was straight lines. Well, Dot, because she's a girl and she's feminine, you're going to do a curve. So you're going to curve and bring it down and around to here. Same thing over here and around to here. Again, the facial structure is exactly the same. It's just a little altered. So instead of doing the little M shapes that we did on the side for Wacko's face, we're going to start at the top here, and we're going to draw a little curve. At the curve, we're going to draw a slightly upturned curve, go down as a triangle, another one upturned curve, and bring it down to about here. Okay, so we have our guideline curve, bring it up and down and around there, down and around there. Same thing on the other side. Now remember, because this is a 3/4 view, because the head is turned, it's going to be slightly larger here than it is over here. So same thing over here, curve. So we have these two triangle shapes. Now you can tell already the facial structure is the same, but just these little minor changes has already changed everything. So now it looks feminine. It looks like Dot. Next step, we're still in the guideline step. We're still pressing very lightly with our pencils. We're going to draw a circle right here. And we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 curves. Inside this flower shape, we're just going to draw a little line here and a little line there just for some detail. Okay, so now it's actually, from what I saw, I believe this flower is actually a ribbon. In one of the episodes, I actually saw her undo it. So, see, I watch my share of cartoons too, Player 2s. Next step after this, we're going to draw our ears. They're not as big as Yakko's or Wacko's. And then right there. So this is all we need right now to draw a Dot. This is the guideline step. I'm going to skip the next step, and we're going to go straight into the finished drawing. Because we have everything all here. We should understand after drawing Yakko where all the guidelines are and everything like that. We don't need to add any more details because we've pretty much just done everything. So, starting with the nose. Here's a little highlight in the nose. We have the little curve. And a good thing about this too is that it's called muscle memory. If you keep drawing the same things over and over and over, your body will understand how to do it. So it just becomes kind of an unconscious thing. So, for example, if I draw a character numerous times, I teach myself how to do it just by repetition. And your body learns how to do that kind of stuff. Here's a mouth. There's a little tongue. Teeth. The curve. We have the mouth here. Mouth here. Go here. Actually, I'm going to go up to the bow or flower ribbon or whatever this is. Like I said, I believe it's a ribbon. I'm going to go around here. Finish our shape. Then our eyes. Again, we're going to throw the highlight inside the eyes. Over the side of the head. And again, this is going to be a solid black shape. Right there. I'm going to fill this in very, very quickly. Again, we're not tracing over those extra guidelines, we're just tracing over what we need. Here's the eyes. And there we go. I'm going to draw a quick little neck down here, 2 lines. Scribble that in. Bam. We have just drawn the Warner sister Dot. Again, just a few little simple changes. Still the same face. Add a couple little things, and now we have a completely different image. Now, since we've practiced drawing Yakko and Dot, we're going to draw Wacko, who is probably the most complicated just because he has an accessory. His hat. Stay tuned. We're going to draw Wacko. Okay, Player 2s. It's time to draw Wacko. I already have started an image just the same way that we did Yakko and Dot. Same facial structure. The only difference is that Wacko's facial structure is more similar to Dot's in regards to, instead of having the angular M shape because Yakko's longer head, Wacko has more of a curved M shape similar to Dot. So we've already drawn this a few times. we should have this down. If not, keep practicing. It's okay. Nobody is perfect. So we're going to start with the nose, eyes, mouth. We've done this a few times already. We should be getting close. Wacko is different because of the fact that instead of having his tongue inside of his mouth, his tongue is hanging out a little bit. So we're going to draw an M shape. We're going to do an outside, and we're going to add a little curve, and we're going to connect right here. So it's just hanging out of the mouth a little bit. So when I erase these detail lines and stuff, this will give you a better view of what we have. Again, M, bring it around a curve and connect it to the mouth. We'll have his teeth. And we'll have that little curve that we did for the shadow inside the mouth. I'll just shade that in really quick so we can see that there. Okay, the next step, and this is the hardest step, is his hat. So, the same way that we do everything at Rob's Arcade, we draw everything in simple shapes. So first we're going to start right about here, and we're just going to draw a curved line slightly above where the eyebrow, or whatever we want to call this area, meets. When we go outside of here, we're just going to add a little curve right there, add a little dent to the hat. Then we're going to take this, whoops, slipped a little bit there. We're going to bring it up, and we're going to bring it down. It's not going to be as this angular, it's going to be a little bit more curved. I just made a little mistake, and that's a good thing. Again, that's why we draw in pencil first, so we can make, if we make mistakes, we can catch them, we can erase them along the way. Up, down, and around here, bring that down a little bit. Starting right about here where the middle guideline meets, we'll add a curve, and it'll be slightly outside of the original head shape. Now we have our guideline that we did here. We can easily turn this to the brim of the hat by just adding a little curve that connects about here, and then a smaller curve inside of that. Right about here, we're going to draw an oval, and we're going to draw the same shape that we've been doing, rectangle, and another oval for his ear. Since his head is turned, his other ear would be behind his hat, so we're just going to draw right there, signifying that there's still an ear there, but it's behind the hat. So that was pretty easy. Just a series of shapes. We just turned this into Wacko. Now, again, I'm going to skip stage 2, the detail stuff, because we already have everything done in the guideline step. So we're going to go straight to inking this over. Black felt tip pen, black marker, over the nose, highlight on the nose, get slightly crooked eyes, with a little highlight on the inside, highlight on the inside, fill that in. Here's some curves. Got his little tongue. Again, I'm going very, very fast. So I apologize if I'm going too fast, but again, we can always pause this and just keep going from there. I find that a lot of people have been doing that with these videos. It's just pausing it, letting stuff sink in. But again, my player 2s are doing fantastic work. Everyone has sent me their drawings, has shown me that they're doing a great job with this program. And it makes me so happy to see that not only are you guys producing great work, but it also sounds like my player 2s are having a lot of fun. So that makes me very, very happy. Because that's why I do this. Going over all of the lines that we need. Not the unnecessary lines, not the guidelines like right here or right there. Just these. Alright, we have the circle. We have the ears. I'm just going to shade that in, just to give you a little idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Over the hat, we have a little curve here for the hat, bring it down around there. We have another ear, I'm going to shade that in really quick, and then inside of his head, I'm just going to shade that in very fast as well. There you have it, player twos. Again, a few simple changes. We've altered our image and turned this into an entirely different character. So now, my player twos have just learned how to draw the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister. Just a few little changes. I can't wait to see what my player twos have done with this episode. Great job.
On this episode of the Classic Game Showcase, we'll be spending a little bit of time with the Animaniacs for the Sega Genesis. Released in 1994 by Konami, this platformer was based on the hit animated series of the same name. The Warner siblings, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, have decided to open a hip pop culture shop to be closer to their favorite movie stars. But to do this, they must travel across various movie sets in order to retrieve movie memorabilia to sell. Once they collect all of the memorabilia, the villainous Pinky and the Brain attempt to steal it in order to further their plot to take over the world.
The game features 4 levels that players can access in any order, and at the end of each level, the player has to defeat a boss to obtain a piece of movie memorabilia. Players control the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister, and can switch control between them at any time to use the character whose abilities fit the situation at hand. For example, Yakko uses a paddle ball to stun enemies and is also able to push and pull large objects. Wacko uses a mallet, which can be used to light fuses, hit switches, and destroy certain objects. Dot can blow kisses, which triggers certain actions on certain characters. Players have health indicators and a certain number of lives, which can be increased by either obtaining 100 stars or picking up a golden form of their faces. The health indicator is at the top left of the screen. When the Warners are smiling, they're healthy, but when they look tired, unhappy, or weak, they are low on health, which can be replenished in the form of food. Also, the levels are timed, so be sure to pay attention to the timer at the bottom of the screen. Animaniacs was also released to the Game Boy and Super Nintendo. The Game Boy version is a port of the Genesis game, but scaled down a bit due to the limitations of the system, while the Super Nintendo version is an entirely different game altogether, in which the player has to collect 24 pages of a script. While the Super Nintendo version is a decent game, the Genesis version has been more favorably received due to less frustrating gameplay and a level design that requires players to use all 3 characters. One thing both games have in common is that they both manage to capture the fun and humor of the classic animated series in a way hardcore fans as well as casual gamers will enjoy. I highly recommend checking this one out if you get the opportunity. Till next time.
And that's a wrap on another edition of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now as far as the next episode goes, well, here's a little hint to what we're going to be drawing. I'm sure my player twos are going to love what I have in store for you next episode. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you next time at Rob's Arcade.